Saying good morning to our listeners this morning. Those of you listening to Classic Radio, good Wednesday, Thursday morning. I'm going back a day, something like that. Good Thursday morning to you. And certainly thanks for being with us this morning. Let's say good morning to our viewers this morning. Those of you via GBN TV, Channel 7, Channel 11, and Channel 20. Good morning on our social media platforms, whether you're viewing the YouTube channels or you're on the Facebook page. Good morning and welcome. You know, on Thursdays we do entertain various departments within the Royal Grenada Police Force. And this morning we have the Criminal Investigation Department, the Digital Forensic Department of the CID, if I'm right about that. And with me this morning, I have Inspector Noel. Inspector Noel, good morning and welcome back on To The Point. Good morning to you. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, GT. Good morning to all the listeners and viewers. And we are happy to be here this morning. I'm doing very well.
All right. Our conversation this morning will of course, I would deem it as being very timely because we're around this time of the year. And we're talking, you know, in terms of lots of folks be going out doing shopping, especially those as the theme, as I mentioned, you know, the digital forensics, so which means we're talking a lot about individuals who do the online shopping and stuff like that. Things that the do's and don'ts, things they're supposed to look out for. You know, they always that good deal as offer, you know, Black Friday and stuff is coming up. And you know, that's tomorrow, and folks may say, hey, there's all these deals that are out there that seemingly seems interesting. And you know, you go online to shop, there are things that you're supposed to look out for. There are folks who will be, how could I put it in a simple way? Looking out for you.
They're looking out for you.
Looking out for you, if I can say it that way. Looking out for you in terms of, you know, trying to scam your hard-earned money.
Job.
You know, they're not there for good reasons. You understand? So that's what our conversation leads this morning. So if you're planning on doing some shopping online, the do's and don'ts that you're looking for, and we're going to talk about that. Any opening comment from you this morning, Inspector Noel, before we get into the conversation?
Right. Thank you, GT. I'm glad you mentioned that, yes, we're in the height of the Christmas season, and it is always a time when persons, you know, use the opportunity to go out there, you know, you change around some of your items at home, you look for gifts for your family and friends, and with the proliferation of, you know, online shopping, it is an ideal opportunity for persons to take advantage of those deals and so forth. We do not want to, you know, scare persons into online shopping because it is sometimes, you know, very reasonable. The items you will get, you have a variety and so forth. And
it's like the way of the world these days.
It's the way of the world, and shipping, of course, is not an issue. But we also have to remember that while we're doing that, there are some safeguards that we need to take for our own benefit, right, in the short and long term.
Yes.
Because once your online, your accounts, your identity, all these things are compromised, it's difficult or sometimes very annoying, you know, to try to get back on the stream.
All right.
So we want to make sure that persons are safe from the onset, and we continue to you know, be safe.
All right. Let's kick it off this morning in terms of let's kick it off with some tips that individuals can adhere to, if I could say it in that way. You know, when deciding to going online and wanting to shop, what are some tips you would like to offer them before we get into more details about the whole aspect of the cybercrime that is going on right now? Let's kick it off with some tips that you could offer our listeners and viewers that maybe they could look out for that. You understand, as a start for them in terms of wanting to shop.
Right. So one of the major, I would say, areas that we want to focus on is knowing where you are shopping. And when I say that, I mean we have stores that are click only, online stores only.
Yes.
Right. And we've had a lot of them popping up post-COVID. Right. Remember, we weren't able to go out and so forth. So we had a number of them popping up post-COVID where persons would operate from their homes. And also we have those brick and mortar stores, like our Court store. We have Courts branches throughout Grenada, but we also have Courts online,
yes,
as well as some of the other businesses, supermarkets, and so forth. Right? We want to ensure that the site we are shopping on is authentic, and that site is actually related to that store. Yes? So you may see a deal from Courts, but that Courts may be pointing you back to another store, let's say, that is unrelated. It
it's
may
like
be
you're being
dealing with-
redirected.
You're redirected
Mm-hmm.
to, so you move from courts.com, right? Or you should be courts.gd,
Mm-hmm.
and now you're going into courts with a Z,
Yes.
maybe .com, right?
All right.
And that is a totally different store,
Out of the jurisdiction or region, if you
Right.
could say that.
right? So that normally happens when persons click on links that are they find in, let's say, messages, in emails, or even on the social media links, right, through adverts and so forth. Those redirected stores. What you want to do in that case is to ensure that you know the store, you know the store's URL or the web address, or that you actually have the store's authentic app installed that you can interact with. Therefore, you are sure that this is the business that you are interacting with, and it is your transaction will go all the way through with that entity only, right? So we have the URLs that you need to be aware of. You also have to have the payment method that you need to ensure that it is secure. We ask persons to look out for the padlock on the sites.
Yes.
That is one level of security, right? To ensure that that site is actually secured for making transactions. Because there's a difference in, going, you can browse the items on the site, and you can probably make the payment in store,
Okay.
right? That's where you have the brick and mortar and online. However, when you're inputting your credit card information or your debit card information, you want to ensure that there is some level of security, SSL certificates,
Okay.
right? That would ensure that that merchant has the data that you are sending is encrypted, meaning that it is secure
All right.
from one end to the other, or from your end to their, bank. And that way you are, a little bit safer in terms of doing that purchase online with them. So we have two things so far, the URL and also the security of the site.
All right.
I mentioned just now about apps. Now we have also the fake apps promulgating, right? Persons may make those apps to look alike the shopping apps,
Yeah.
or even create apps that are looking like stores that Amazon brand, eBay brand, Shein, right? These are the famous stores that persons, shop on, and there would be apps that look alike. There would be advertisements that look alike on the social media platforms, in emails, and even some of the websites that you would be browsing. Because while you're browsing and your interest is your cookies, your interest is also known through your web browsing activity, you will get those ads popping up. Why you get those ads popping up is because it is something we probably have looked at before or navigated to our website like it before. And these apps now, yes, they look alike. They may have the same information because it's easy to, pull that data. Build your own app, build your own site to look like it. The intent is to get to that credit card information and that personal information that would allow the bad actors, the criminals, to use it later on, or even to steal from you over time without you recognizing.
Can I also ask, how can one tell when a particular site or URL that you go to or app that you're on, how could an individual tell that it's authentic?
Right. So you need to, it's all about knowing what the real thing is.
Yes.
And a good way to do that is to actually go to the website, the parent website of the company, right? Not taking it from a link that someone sent you, right? You would be able to identify the logo,
Yes.
the marks of the company, the address of the company, right? The contact details, some of that. these are all information that would help you to identify whether that is the real company, because you will have, let's say, a company that's supposed to be operating out of the U.S. and you end up with address in maybe Amsterdam.
Yeah.
You know, our phone number that is not U.S. based. So, you need to check those things. And of course, I want to, zero in here on the effort we make in actually verifying the information can save us a lot.
Spend some time detailing that and go through the details of that details, especially numbers, make sure it's authentic, the address of the particular company.
Yes, you need to do that.
And also, you could probably check on reviews also.
Reviews as well would help you a lot, right? Because if somebody had a bad experience on a particular site, they most likely mention it somewhere. Yes, and but a good way is to do that is to Google the company, Google, and you can get the store name from there as well. Especially
if it's a first time visit that you're visiting it for the first time.
That's correct. Right. So these are some of the things that you need to do in order to ensure that you're starting off in the right place, more or less. Right. So after you ensure that you have the site correct. You're shopping.
Yes.
You want to ensure also that the card that you have, it may not always be feasible, but when it's practical, you have a card dedicated for shopping. You have a card that, you can say that only has that amount of funds on it that I need to do that transaction at a particular time. When that transaction is complete, I don't have to worry that, if it becomes compromised, that I would lose more than I intended. You'd have more
drawdown that you intended.
I would have more transactions taking place on that account than I intended.
All right.
Right? So where possible, we advise persons to have a separate card. If it is not possible to have a separate card, then you have a separate account that you can leave and move whenever you need to make that transaction.
Okay.
And that ties in well with having your online banking in check. Now, the financial institutions don't just give online banking because they do not want you to come into the physical facility. They want you to be aware of your transactions. They want you to be in the know. Right? So, part of online banking gives you alerts when a transaction takes place by swiping, when a transaction takes place online, right? When a transaction takes place in the ATM machine. If you can get those alerts, it means that you would know when a transaction takes place that you did not know, that you cannot account for. And very quickly you are able to report it to your institution. You are able to, check your email where that is set up to ensure that that was not you, and you can have the transaction reversed, stopped, or even the card blocked from further transactions.
All right. So and that's where individuals should have their various alerts set up also.
Alerts set up. Ensure that it is set up. There is no sense having the online banking when you know that you wouldn't log in, let's say, once a week. Yeah. Right? Or you wouldn't be prompted to log in only when you make a transaction, but you would know what is happening with your account as
and the way with technology these days, you could have these alerts coming to your cell phone and so forth on a regular. Once you know that you didn't perform a particular transaction, you will know, well, I shouldn't be losing $20 every few minutes for some reason that I didn't authorize. You understand? Because once you're spending it, I am expecting because I did spend $20.
Right.
And it goes back to the online shopping, as you mentioned, be a level of awareness. This is where I want to get into that level of conversation now. Folks being aware of the various sites that they go on, they be going onto, being aware of the authenticity of this, how authentic that particular site is. Individuals should also be aware of that. I'm assuming those are some of the information that you would like to share with our audience this morning.
Right. In terms of how do you guard yourself against making those mistakes? Yes. To start off with, you always have to pay attention to the fine prints.
Yeah.
Right? never be too much of a rush to go through the fine prints of what the company is about or what they're actually doing. Yeah, you're able to know the objectives, you're able to know how long they've been operating, and so forth. These are important. Now, in the whole social media online shopping realm, we have had persons becoming victim of scams that are associated with online shopping.
Yes.
Right. And these are the same, back to clicking the wrong links again, back to going after an ad that they saw that was too good to be true. And I want persons to, for a moment, think about or understanding how social engineering works.
Yes.
In terms of how the scammers are successful.
All right. Now, before we detail on the social engineering part of it, we drew for a break. Let's take it, and we come back and probably get some more details from you in terms of the social engineering part of it when we come back. Stay with us, folks. With me this morning, we have Inspector Noel from the CID, that's the Digital Forensic Department. We're coming right back. Stay with us. Don't touch your dial.
Camp it.
For a limited time, the NLA has dropped all of the 2x balls from the multi-X draw. This means that you, our valuable players, have greater chances of multiplying your winnings up to 5 times more in our 2x drop promotion.
Yay!
And that's not all. As an additional bonus, there will be fewer free play or FP balls to draw from too. Now you have more reasons to add multi-X to your playway bets. So, value your dreams, win your way, and multiply your winnings up to 5 times more in the NLA's 2X Dropped promotion. This promotion is extended to Saturday, December 30th, 2023. Must be 18 years or older to play. NLA, making your dreams come true.
Hello everyone, here is an invitation to join me this and every Sunday until December 17th on GBN Television and K105 FM from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. for Yuletide Sundays. Great music, gifts, and all the wonderful things of Christmas. Yuletide Sundays comes to you compliments Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices, Grenville Credit Union, Gittins Healthcare, and Clear Vision Eye Center.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to The Point here on Classic Radio, GBN TV, for today, Thursday, the 23rd of November. And with me this morning, we have Inspector Noel from the CID, more likely the forensic, the digital forensic department, more or less, within the CID. And we're talking this morning online shopping, cybercrime. You know, it's Utah's season, and a lot of folks are geared up to shop online. There always that product or that advertising, that bit of advertisement that will come along that will grab your interest, and you're saying, oh, you know, I need that particular product, and sometimes you want to know the authenticity of the product. How authentic is the site that you're going on? How authentic is the payment method that you're going to be using to pay for, you know, that product from the particular site? But we want to switch a little bit and go to the social engineering and how it could affect you in terms of cybercrime. And the aspects of it in terms of cybercrime. I want to give us some information on that. The social engineering. When you deem it as social engineering, what does it come?
So, social engineering, in the basic sense, in simple terms, we're looking at of users or manipulation of persons by the individuals who we refer to as the bad actors that would actually trick, you know, others, deceive them into revealing confidential information we spoke about the personal identifiable information and your credit card information, or to provide access to your device, or to be able to perform actions that they wouldn't normally do. So it's a manipulation. It is a psychological effect, more or less, on that person that would cause them to do things or fall into a trap that they wouldn't necessarily fall into if they had taken steps to avoid the bad actor.
Yeah.
So the act, most times they take advantage of the human psyche, as I said, right? And we want the public to be aware of. There are some tell signs. There are some, root causes that would actually help you to identify when social engineering is being used, and especially for your shopping sprees online, right? And the different niceties that comes around the Christmas time through social media and online platforms.
All right.
Right, so there are 4 basic factors, and one, we're looking at trust, we're looking at timeliness, we're looking at also information gathering or information sharing, and the behaviors or unusual behaviors and requests. When we think about manipulation of trust, I'm not sure how well maybe your colleagues know you, right, but they would know certain details about you.
So true, so true.
Right, exactly.
So true.
Yes. So if, for instance, we were to manipulate one of your colleagues to make them look like you, or to put out that information about you, someone who knows you, a family member or friend, is likely to trust what you're saying about, right, or go with what they're saying.
Exactly.
Right. So social engineers often, they manipulate their victims by exploiting their trust. Their first. They may impersonate, someone, have all that information about you, to get the person to willingly enter into a relationship. And entering into a relationship doesn't mean that you go as far as, meeting the person, but just establishing that I know this person and I can trust this person. I can take what they're saying and, do what they're asking me to do. That is where the trust factor comes in. Those persons might be your family, friends, co-workers. They may be the network manager or the IT manager, right? That has, some level of association with you. The manipulation can come through the phone calls, SMS, emails, chat messages, and we have had in recent times these social media chat forums, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and so forth, being used to lure persons into forming trust relationships.
Okay.
That, right? If, for instance, first of all, trust is broken, is either broken or mended, right? That bad actor who purports to be GT now approaches another colleague. Yes?
Yes.
That person buys in. That is the first line of defense that is weakened.
Yeah.
Because now I am willing to go all the way with whatever they are asking.
Because they could actually say something about GT that probably it's authentic to a point.
Yes.
Yeah.
At first glance, that sounds like GT. That, sounds like something that, he would like or he would be involved in.
Yeah.
That, and when we're looking at most times it happens with the social media, you have an image of the person that you're aware of. You have a tagline saying something about that person that they normally use. Therefore, that account has to be GT, right? That, phone number may be changed, but I wouldn't wait to verify with him. I would go along with what that message is saying.
I'm getting the direction that you're going.
Right. So we want persons to be aware that persons can be manipulated from accounts or information that other persons are using about their acquaintances, family, friends, colleagues, and so forth.
All right.
So that's the first tell sign.
Yes.
The urgency of the request.
Yeah.
As you said, that deal is good.
Yeah.
You have to go for it. You can't wait, right? You must act now or you will lose out on the opportunity, right? You must send the funds.
Yeah.
Or I may not be available, You cannot wait to transfer and so forth or make the purchase. The pressure that is put on you causes you to not think about the consequences or whether that person is actually authentic in that, conversation, in that transaction.
Send me $100 and you get 100,000 or some these kind of conversation that spurs. You're thinking about the multiplying effect. Hey, if I just do this, there's some transaction that you need to go through. So send me $100 and you get
right.
Those are where
right, exactly.
That's where you lose the focus because you're thinking at the other end.
Right, correctly. And when we're thinking about the online shopping aspect, you would have the prices changing so often.
Yes.
So you want to catch the lowest price. Right?
Yeah.
So what
if you pay you would pay this now, the price would not remain like that for the next hour or the next 30 minutes. They show some kind of clock counting down.
The countdown is on, right? When in truth and in fact the item is there may be 100, but it's showing that there's only 2 left in stock. Yeah. So you want to be one of those persons to get, one of the 2, right? Yeah. So the urgency is also one of the tell signs, right? If you have to act immediately, it may just be that you're acting to get yourself into that scam.
All right.
Being in that loss, right? Another is the information we share. Too much can be detrimental.
All right.
Right? Our social media sites or platforms that we use do have some level of information about us. Our image, they would have our name. Sometimes they have our address. In some cases, our birthdays are known as well. This information is used by attackers once they are collated together to be able to know enough about you to be able to send a targeted message at you.
Yeah.
Right? If your birthday is coming up, you may be interested in doing something special for yourself or getting something special for yourself. We know that Christmas is coming up and you have family and friends, right? You will want to get them something. So now it turns against us when the social engineers have so much information about us that they can use it to send us something that makes us, very gullible. Yes. We fall into it, right? And of course, some of the information too that we overshare can be used to impersonate others that are close to us. Then we're going back to how you can trust that person who is not who they purport to be.
All right. So that's where you could say, of course, maybe you could limit the personal information being shared over, especially on social media and so forth.
That you share.
Yeah. And even on making a purchase, if you find too much personal information has been asked of you, that way a cause for concern should come in.
Right. That's right. I was going to get into that one as well a little later on when we're actually dealing with that. Right. So we think about, let's say, for instance, how someone normally addresses you when you're getting those messages.
Yes.
Think about terms that they may use, how they may refer to themselves as well, right? Tags and so on that you're in, your status message that you're posting, the reels, and so that you're posting. Think about that. And that is available to attackers so that they can make inferences about you and be able to target.
All right.
Sometimes you may see emails coming in. Yes, you know that you're subscribed to a particular shop, right? And that email comes in about, let's say, if you're into tools,
yes,
you'll see tools coming in that you can purchase, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that store, the Target or Amazon, knows that you need some tools, right? But that information is out there, and so the message is crafted so that it appeases you, and now you're able to click on that link or follow to be able to make a transaction where your card is compromised, your information is compromised, and there's financial loss. And the fourth aspect is the unusual requests, unusual behaviors that comes with those online experiences. The communications, I just alluded to it in a bit. How someone refer to you when you're speaking to them. Social engineers often make unusual, unexpected requests. Your credit card information, your personal information, over means that you definitely should not be given over the telephone or in a chat forum, online shopping, while you're shopping on that site. Yes, they may also ask for favors. You made mention of the 100 for 100,000. Yes. Mm-hmm. That is not something that you would gravitate towards. That is not something that, well, we should say, not making sense, right? So we think about those unusual requests, unusual behaviors, right? So if we look at those factors, we'll be able to identify this is a social engineering attack against me. Okay. We stop for a while. We think about where do we want to go, which direction. Do I want to engage that person? Do I want to engage with that site? Do I want to follow through with that purchase? Because, these factors are in play here.
All right. Yeah, Interesting.
I want us to, always think about, because we may say, we're accustomed shopping online. We're accustomed using this site or that site, and we're accustomed to doing this. But online shopping scams, or online scams in general, are being engineered every day, even as we speak. New ways are being, populated to catch persons. Because yes, we're having awareness sessions, but there are still persons whose, emotion kicks in. You want to be able to have that opportunity.
All right. And there are always the individuals who are scammers out there, who may have some information of sites that you are visiting on a regular basis. Because there are people who sit on a computer and just look at and pay attention to these things on a regular. And they may say, I'm noticing GT is always going to purchase something from this particular site on a regular, and he may have done it 3 or 4 times a month.
Right.
And and they may for some reason hack that particular site. And you go on to it though, and then you've been scammed out of your handout money.
That's right.
So sometimes you have to be very careful about the amount of information that you put out, or maybe change the level or the amount of times you use a particular site to gain in terms of making purchases or so forth.
But you always have to be, checking that, and then we go back to the authenticity of the site as well. Make sure that it is actually the site that you're on. Yeah, right. You can rely on history from time to time, but you need to scrutinize the information. You need to ensure that it is up to date as well. Yeah, so that you are aware on, and most times the sites would have promotions, the adverts running online.
Yes.
They wouldn't just pop up with a secret promotion. Like for instance, we have tomorrow, most likely we have Black Friday sales at Courts. You would see the adverts in the store. You'll probably get a SMS stating, they have sales going on, and even if they want you to purchase online, they would still encourage you to come in store as well. So this is authentic. So you need to check in with the sites, the website.
And if for some reason that site is not encouraging you to shop in store, then something may be wrong there. Or the persistent of whoever is speaking to you online via when you're making a purchase. If there is someone who's actually speaking to you and keep redirecting you to somewhere else, then something is not right about that.
That's correct. And I guess we will get into as well the payment methods and the actual.
All right. Let's take a break and we come back and chat about that some more. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point here on Classic Radio GBN TV. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
We say, yeah, GBN we say, arts and culture living, yeah. Rock the box we say, I'm telling you, rock the box, rock the box, rock the box we say, I'm telling you, rock the box, rock the box, rock the box we say, we'll be jamming here on a Thursday.
Looking for that injection of vibes and energy, of course? Well, I've got just that. Hi, my name is Gary Mr. Smooth, and I'm inviting you to join me on the Hot Morning Show on Hot 98.5, 98.7 FM. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 10 in the morning. I've got a healthy dose of your favorite and most infectious hits sampled with information, news, laughter, and all the other ingredients that go into making the hottest morning show on the radio. The Morning Heat. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit us up on WhatsApp, 435-7517. We've got topics, we've got discussions, calls, voice notes, and so much more. But I can't tell you everything. You gotta tune in. The Hot Morning Show on Hot FM 98.5, 98.7 with yours truly, Gary Mr. Smooth. Kaboom!
On this episode of Caribbean Passport TV, we travel to St. Kitts and Nevis, visit a cocoa estate in Trinidad and Tobago, and listen to some steel pan music. And then we'll wind down with some paintings right here on this station.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, To The Point here on Classic Radio and GBN TV. Inspector Noel with me this morning from the CID, the Digital Forensic Unit folks. And we're talking, online shopping, cybercrime, and of course, ways and giving you lots of tips in terms of you could make yourself aware that, whatever you're doing online may not be authentic, or the particular site you're going on there. There's always those things that doesn't seem real at times when you're making purchases. So that's what we speaking on this morning, and we certainly will entertain your calls if you may have an experience that you want to share, or you want to ask a question or two. If you're probably thinking about going online and shop and there's a particular question you would like to ask, you feel free. Of course, I know Inspector Noel would definitely answer your question. Inspector Noel, we before the break, we were talking about another direction we wanted to go in terms of payment methods that sites offer and so forth, and those are one of the most concerning part of it, because when your money is involved some way or the other, you have to know, well, how authentic is it that whoever I'm paying, or the method in terms of which I've been told to pay, is whether you're using your card or other third-party sources. Some of these days there are third-party sources like the PayPal and stuff like that. How authentic are those for the company that you're paying, so forth? Let's get some information on that.
Right. In terms of the payment method, and that goes along with the type of company and their method of doing business. Brick and mortar, click online, or online and physical store, right? The most common methods are the credit card.
Yes.
They would accept credit, referred to as credit and debit card, right? You always have to ensure that the site is safe for accepting payment.
Yes.
And I alluded to earlier the SSL certificate, right, and the padlock on those sites, right? In addition, the amount of information that is generally needed to make that purchase would be the card information.
Yes.
Right? We have the card number, the expiration date, and of course the 3-digit numbers that your security PIN that is needed there, right? If you're sending out that information, you have to ensure that gateway is secure.
Yes.
Once you lose that information, it means that your card can be compromised and used it can be sold even, right? Where you have the opportunity to use a third party, as you're saying, Apple Pay, PayPal, or Google Pay, you can use that as well, because with those third party, you have a level of control in blocking the transactions.
Yes.
If you have more than one transaction taking place, that shouldn't occur. You also have the opportunity to dispute those payments as well. And of course, you can have them reversed, right? So you want to ensure that these are the facilities that are available to you. The site must be secure enough to accept your credit card information, or offer a credible third party that you can pay with. You may have a store that sells shoes and clothes, but they're asking you to pay in cryptocurrency. Yeah. That is not something that I would encourage someone to do, or even to do a money transfer by MoneyGram or via Western Union, right? If the store is operating online, then I should be able to make the entire purchase or the entire transaction online secure.
You shouldn't have to go to pay via cash then or via other sources. I understand that.
Correct. Right? So we have to look at those things, and of course, if we're able to dispute, if we are able to get our refund in the event that we are not satisfied with the purchase, this is also something that you should bear in mind when you're at that cart about to check out.
Okay. All right, that's so true. So great. So, as you mentioned, be careful about, of course, the ways in which sites are asking you to make the payments. Once it seems not too straightforward, as you mentioned, just your card number, your name, the expiry date, and so forth. Once other information that is deemed unnecessary, maybe you should not continue with that form of payment at all.
With the transaction at all.
The transaction in general, you should go. Well, the payment always comes with the transaction too. So I'm just saying, maybe you should not continue with the transaction in general. Because something just seems out of the ordinary.
It's out of the way.
Out of the ordinary. And don't forget, listeners and viewers, you still have the option. If you do have a question or two you may like to ask Inspector Noel, feel free to do so. What are the concerns that individuals should have, especially when it comes to online shopping, that maybe we haven't touched on yet?
Right. We didn't touch on the phishing aspect.
The phishing aspect.
Right. And that is the PHISING. Right. While you're shopping, yes, you would be exposed to many different products. Some of the sites would have adverts and so on. Right. The links that you click on may not be leading or associated with that site as well, right? So, for instance, let's say you're on Shein, right? That clothing is famous site, clothing and shoes, or a wide range of items. As a matter of fact, you're seeing an advert for some other clothing. Yes, that advert would lead away from Shein onto another site.
All right.
Once you click on that link, first of all, you may be exposed to malware.
Yeah.
Right. Further infection of your device that allows the attacker to gather information from you. Or you may, at some point in time, be prompted to enter your card information to sign up for further subscribe, more or less, so that you can get the newsletter and deals and so on as well. These are all part of the phishing scams as well. Then you may be asked to send information, your banking information, right? Which may not be necessary. It's not absolutely necessary for you to send banking information if you're just going to do a purchase for, let's say, a few dollars, right? So we want persons to be able to recognize, how the scams or the phishing works. The critical factor here is to be able to look at where you are being redirected once you click on that link. What site or what entity it is going to. So for instance, if I say we're on Shein, then if you hover over your mouse, you click over the picture or the link, it would pop up the entire address where it is going to. If it has nothing associated with Shein, then you know for sure that's in for a phishing. That's in for a scam.
Okay.
Right? In the emails, again, if you're a subscriber, and the title of the email would say Black Friday deals at Courts. It has Courts in there. There is something in the address saying Courts, but it's asking you to go to a site to click in the store. When you look at the link that it is sending you to, it is probably not Courts. All right, so it means that you would have received an email or a message, SMS or WhatsApp even, that is targeted at phishing.
All right.
So that is one of the aspects that persons need to be concerned about. Now, when you have your card compromised and so forth, you're also setting up yourself for identity theft. And it means that a whole new persona is being built upon your information that can be used anywhere in the world. Scams as a service, phishing as a service, they're all directed at gathering personal information and account information in order to sell online for other persons to use. Once that information is compromised, you cannot necessarily change your name. You cannot change your date of birth and so forth to build a whole new you. But you have to rely on now ensuring that you tread cautiously while you're online, because there's somebody else that may be GT, right? Somewhere, not in Grenada or elsewhere, right? And that person is able to now complete transactions, or they know so much about you,
and using your identity to make purchases, and then
especially negatively.
All right. How concerning is it from the digital forensic department, whether from sites that ask you to save your personal information?
Right, we didn't get into that.
We didn't get into that, but it's concerning, because sometimes there are sites that ask you to save, especially your card information and stuff. It's like it's actually left on the site. You revisit the site and you don't need to pop it back up again for some reason. How concerning is that? Individual should be about that.
Right, and I would broaden it to the scope of even the browser that we are using, or the apps that we are using. But I wouldn't say not everyone, but everyone would be immune to some form, not immune, to being attacked, to being hacked, to having a data compromise. Once your data is stored, it means that it will be part and parcel of anything that gets stolen.
Okay.
Right? Not many persons put the systems in place to ensure that data is stored securely, meaning encrypted, even while transaction is happening. And if that is the case, it means that your data is up for compromise. There is no harm in typing out the full card number, your full address, and all that details that is needed at the time of transaction. There's no harm in it. It means that you are sure it is not saved in the browser, it is not saved in the app. That is not so safe. Yes, to start with, that it can become compromised at a later time. When you choose that option, you have greater control as well too. Where maybe a transaction may mistakenly happen. Yes, someone may use your device. The device can get hacked. Yes, and transactions can happen without your input, because it is already there, stored. right? So storing of this critical information is not something that, you should necessarily, fall for, unless you have extra levels of security yourself, or you can guarantee that that merchant or that store has extra security that protects your data, and that falls under the data privacy part of it, where they protect your data and they ensure that you can be compensated in the event that there is a data breach.
All right. Mm-hmm. How worrying is it, especially now, for, if I could ask these few questions, first-time users of going on sites and for first time, and especially how important it is for you to know individuals you interact with. Maybe someone is helping you. You understand? There are options where someone say, I'm not too computer literate, so forth. Help me use that, and you give them your card and so forth. To make purchases for you. How concerned individuals should be about that?
As you said that, I have a friend that he says I'm a little bit overcautious because. I always say you don't give people your card. Even you go to a restaurant and you just hand them your card and they go with your card. No, be very cautious. Because
we have a tendency to do it from time to time. You go to a restaurant and payments need to be made. You just give them your card.
Give them your card. Bring the machine. You swipe or
or maybe you get up and go to the cashier yourself.
Go to them.
Yeah.
Right, because it doesn't take much to take a picture of the card details.
Yeah.
It doesn't take too long to do that, and that information can be used.
And then you worry, and you start worrying about how these additional payments have been made, or reductions have been coming out from your account that you're not privy to. You understand?
Right. Yes, certainly. So if you're gonna, seek the assistance of someone for online purchasing, ensure that you really trust that person. Ensure that that data is not even being stored on their device as well, right? Because, for instance, if you're using my device to make a purchase, residue data would still be on here.
It will stay there,
right?
So true.
And I can use it later on. So we have to, think about that. We cannot. Yeah, totally trust. It's hard to say.
As you mentioned, you said that you're being overly cautious, but sometimes you really have to. You have to.
You really have to be cautious. You really have to be cautious because it is not, easy to just lose funds that, you have there saved for something else. And then that goes back to, again, why we want to have a different card, why we want to have a separate account and keep tabs of the purchases that we are making.
All right. We're due for another break, our final break in the program this morning, and when we come back, we have some more comments that we're making about, of course, cyber security. And once again, for viewers and listeners, if you do have a question or two you may like to ask Inspector Noel, feel free to do so when we come back in the next one. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back after the short break.
Fingers down to the soles in your
back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. Of course, our conversation this morning is on cyber security and how important it is to be and how concerned you should be. Around this time is the utility season, and you intend to make purchases online and so forth. So we have it with us this morning, Inspector Noel from the CID Digital Forensic Department, of course, giving us lots of tips in terms of securing ourselves and not having ourselves, worrying after making purchases, especially online, that you lose all of this monies that could have gone into something else. So I certainly hope that you've been paying attention to some of the tips that have been offered this morning, and you could certainly put them into use.
Yes,
the tips, put them into use. We just have approximately 2 minutes or 3 minutes left, Inspector Noel, this morning. I'm assuming we didn't get much calls coming in this morning, so most of you folks are probably absorbing a whole lot in terms of what we said this morning as it relates to cybercrime. Anything you want to say in closing before we take a wrap this morning?
Right. In addition to, being able to use your devices, do the online shopping with ease, in the event that you have any issues, you can report it. And we have the CID, Criminal Investigations Department. We have the FIU that will do investigations along that line. You come in, you call in, report it, and of course, where you will recognize that maybe something is off with your card, contact your bank immediately. And again, we go back to having the online banking. So if you recognize something, you call the bank, you contact the bank, let them know that something is off, that card needs to be blocked, or, that account needs to be secured.
All right. We do have a caller. I'm assuming the caller may want to ask a question or two. Let's go to the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Not so much of a discussion, just a comment I would like to make that people might not be aware of how to use their card. But I was at Kentucky once, and there's some people who go on motorcycles delivering food to houses. Well, one of these guys came in with a list and a credit card, and he gave it to the cashier and told the cashier the list of what I want is there, and the credit card number is on that piece of paper. And he handed that to the cashier. So obviously customer gave him their credit card, gave him their number, password, to go to Kentucky to buy stuff for them, which is dangerous. And I thought people should be aware that is not the right thing to do, because the guy on the bike could use their credit card for anything, the cashier could keep the number, and anything could happen there with that person's credit card.
Thank you, caller. Thank you. And that's a great observation there, anyway.
Yes, it is. And that is where we come back to not giving your card, or not even giving the details, or sending the information to someone else with the hopes that they are making that purchase on your behalf and that purchase only. Right. So very good observation, caller, and share with others as well.
And it goes back to what you said earlier. I mean, folks go to, you said you go to restaurants and so forth, and you just give the whoever comes to you, the waiter with your cards to take payment. That's another way to be a concern about. It's not always, even though you trust the establishment, but sometimes it's not always the best thing to do.
Yes, correct.
I know. Inspector Noel, of course, as we get to that time of the morning, we'll be able to take a wrap. It's already 10 a.m. I want to thank you so much for coming in and sharing information this morning. I certainly hope the viewers and listeners this morning did absorb a whole lot in terms of what we said. Very, very, very important information, especially around this time of the year. And cybercrime is something that has taken a precedence now.
It has.
That's taken a precedence now, because we see a lot of folks complaining about losing lots. Folks fall for these scams because sometimes they are just too good to not fall upon for yourself. You understand? I want to thank you once again, and best wishes for the day.
Thank you so very much, and best wishes to your viewers and listeners as well, and to the GBN family.
Right.
Do continue to be safe, and remember that at the end of the day, you be in control of your info, you be in control of your data.
All right. Yes. Thank you so much. I want to thank all who listened and viewed this morning. Best wishes to you also. Have yourself a great day. Don't forget, Mingle and Jingle is next here on Classic Radio. Stay with us, folks.